This month in RAD Studio, we've got RAD Studio 10.4 Patch 2. We'll talk a little bit about third-party support for 10.4. Big news around DevExpress support for FireMonkey. And then lastly, I want to talk about an open source project, also around FireMonkey mostly, called Castry. Thanks for joining us this month. My name's Malcolm Groves. Let's get right into it. I'm hoping to keep this one a lot shorter than previous episodes. First off, as I've just mentioned before, we've got Patch 2 for RAD Studio 10.4. Patch 1 came out a month or 6 weeks or something ago, and was relatively straightforward to install. Patch 2 is available now, and it's also available through Get-It. So if you've installed from the web installer, you should already be seeing notification on your home screen inside RAD Studio that there's a patch available. If you didn't install through the web installer, if you installed through the ISO, it's still available to you. I'll post a link below showing how you can kind of enable the Get-It functionality for an ISO installed RAD Studio. But once you've done that, you'll get the notification. This patch, though, is a little bit different to the last one in that Get-It will download it for you, but then there are some steps that you need to take to actually install the patch. So it's not entirely obvious. I've had a couple of people who downloaded it through Get-It and kind of assumed that, well, that was it and that they were patched when in fact they're not. So both Marco and Dave Millington have put up posts about how to install it once Get-It has downloaded it. There's also a video walking you through, so all of that's in the show notes below, links to all of that. But a bunch of fixes, a bunch of really welcome fixes, especially I've been excited. I've posted about the new LSP-based Code Insight. It's really promising. There have been some issues with that needed to be addressed. So a bunch of the issues that have been impacting me, sorry to make this all about me, but the ones that have been, a couple of the big ones that have been impacting me have been addressed in this patch. So I'm kind of excited about it. Hopefully they've dealt with some of your issues as well. Obviously update 1 will be coming. But in the meantime, it's nice to see Embarcadero releasing a few of these patches just to hit the bigger issues that are holding people up until we get update 1. Okay. Next topic, I want to talk a little bit about, while we're talking about 10.4, there's been a post up on our website since 10.4 was released, basically. I think the day after or something, we put it up there, listing all of the component sets and third-party tools that have announced support for 10.4. It's been up there for a little while, but the reason that I'm bringing it up again is that we've been updating it as we go. And I was looking for something else. I was looking at our website stats the other day, and I noticed that it's still getting an awful lot of traffic. So I think a lot of people kind of can be slow to update to the most recent version. Projects are on, everyone's busy, maybe they're waiting for the first couple of patches to come out, whatever. But I've noticed in the last week or two that post getting a lot of traffic. So if you're in that boat and you've kind of been waiting for some of the dust to settle after the 10.4 release before you stepped in, again, I'll put a link down the bottom here just so you can have a look and see if all of the third-party libraries that you have dependencies on have actually been updated. Yeah. Pretty much most of them now, but anyway, there's a list. Yeah, and if you do find any that aren't mentioned and you're not sure if they're supported or you know that they are supported, let me know in the comments. I'll update the page so that other people looking for it have got it as well. Speaking of third parties, I mentioned right at the beginning, big news from DevExpress. If you've been around these tools for a little while, you would know the name DevExpress. They've made VCL components for donkey's years, yeah, and some really cool ones, especially like I think the one that a lot of people who've used DevExpress know them for their grids. Now they do lots of other components, but their grids are pretty impressive. They've a while ago made sort of announcement that they were working on FireMonkey support for their grids. They've just come out with Julian Bucknell's just come out with a post in the last week or so, announcing that the DevExpress grid for FireMonkey is available. Now, it's available in, I can't remember the exact phrase they use, but it's basically like a preview, a tech preview. It's not complete, but you can download it and get your hands on it and start to play with it. And it looks pretty impressive. A lot of the features that I am used to, I've used their grid at various times on various projects over the years. And a lot of the features I kind of went looking for straight away to see if they were there. Like their different views, they've got quite extensive layout. I think they call them layout abilities, so that you can change what each record essentially looks like on the screen. They're quite well known for their filtering, sort of very drag and drop filtering in their grids. A bunch of those features, the in-place editors, all those sorts of things. A lot of them are already there in this preview. Yeah. I'll give you the link to Julian's post. It's worth reading through that because it is a preview. So he does go into some of the things that aren't there yet. So if that's kind of what you're waiting on, it's not there yet. Also talks about the platforms they're supporting. It certainly looks like they're intending to support all of the FireMonkey platforms. Right now, in this preview, they haven't done a lot of testing on iOS. So right now, what they've done a lot of testing on is macOS and Windows and Android. But he mentions in there that, it possibly works on iOS and they're intending for it to work on iOS. It's just in this particular preview, they haven't done a lot of iOS testing. Yeah. So don't let that put you off because that's the plan by the looks. But just be aware if you wanted to get it and play with it on iOS right now, you might be doing some of their testing for them, which is fine. Yeah, helps everybody. So that's really big news. I'm quite excited about this. And they also go on in the article to talk about the fact that this is the first of their components to support FireMonkey, but they're not planning for it to be the last. They've got a lot of components, so I don't expect that next month suddenly all of their components will support FireMonkey or anything. But he does talk about the fact that, they're planning other components for support for FireMonkey. So I think this is fantastic news. Both because those of us doing FireMonkey work gives us a lot more options and some really cool components. But secondly, that I think it speaks to a lot of the maturity that's sort of, I was going to say maturation, is that a word? A lot of the improvements, let's go with that. A lot of the improvements and maturity that's been put into the FireMonkey platform over recent releases. I know that there are some people who jumped on FireMonkey early when it came out years ago, and were kind of missing some things and couldn't do some of the things they wanted and maybe have stepped away and not looked at it in recent times. But I think if DevExpress can build a component of the complexity of their grid on FireMonkey, I think that might be a sign that it's worth, for those people, it's worth a second look at what's going on inside FireMonkey. Yeah. Okay. Last thing on FireMonkey, mostly. I want to highlight a project called Castry. Yeah. It's from Dave Nottage, who's one of the Embarcadero MVPs, also an Australian guy. And mostly it's a bunch of components and units and libraries for FireMonkey. A lot of them focused around mobile, but not all of them. There's also desktop support in there as well, and there's some VCL things, but predominantly it's got a FireMonkey focus. And it kind of extends, it both improves on a lot of the FireMonkey sort of controls that are already there for the different platforms, but also extends them into other APIs that aren't covered, that kind of stuff. It's up on GitHub, so it's open source. You can go and grab it and play with it. I'll post a link to a little overview video that Dave's done where he basically talks about how to get going with it and a bit of an overview of how the folder structure and everything's arranged. But really cool project. I've found a couple of things in there that I've kind of put a little star next to so that I know that I need to use them in upcoming projects. So definitely worth a look to go and check that out. Okay. That'll do us for this month. It's still not as short as I expected it to be. I'm still aiming for that 5-6 minute mark, but I'm not there yet. But that's it for this month. As always, if you've got any feedback or suggestions on things you'd like to see covered, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, have a fantastic month. Hopefully it's warm wherever you are. It's definitely not warm here in Sydney, but we're getting through it. Hope it's warm. Have a good month. Enjoy whatever you're coding this month, and we'll see you on the next episode of This Month in RAD Studio. Cheers.